Good morning, everyone. And I just want to say thank you to the last panelists for setting this one up so well. Alice, you did a great job for setting today's panel. So we're going to talk a little bit more around supply chain crunch, technology's role in addressing some of those challenges. But already I'm starting to see from this morning's discussion just some kind of common themes at GFX. I think we're going to see a continuation in those same themes. And so it was really interesting hearing from, both of them from NAS partners at Spot at Red Sea, this idea of change management. And it's for Realis touched on the importance of integration. And then, Jay for Procore touched on this idea of human centricity, which were some really interesting themes. And so, putting to his excellent panelists, I'd like to welcome you. And so, if we sort of look at this question of the role technology can play to beat the supply chain crunch, I'd love to maybe start this off with a question to Faisal. If we look at supply chain, you're from Red Sea, one of the first PIF devcos to launch projects in the kingdom. And one of the things that I've always found interesting about Red Sea is one of the things related to the supply chain, and particularly your delivery model. And so my first question is, what were the supply chain considerations that led the Red Sea to not use general contractors, but rather engage directly with subcontractors?
Thank you, Ed. Good morning, everybody. I think, so it was a basic question that we asked ourselves about 6-7 years ago when we started this project. And just to give you the statistics today, we will stand at the Saudi market. Between 2021 and today, approximately 3 trillion worth of projects have been announced. And that is a 5 tons increase to the project which were announced between 2016 and 2021. The labor market in KSA was at its peak in, I believe, 2016. And today we are 42% drop in that. We have seen a steady increase in the labor supply over the last couple of years, but still that has not reached the level of peaks it saw in 2016. So just provides you a little bit of an idea around supply and demand function in the kingdom right now, because of the process done as. We have our colleagues from Saudi contract organization here, and according to them, within the kingdom today, there are 180,000, 190,000 contractors. Out of that, 144,000 contractors are small to medium contractors. So this tells you that, traditionally, where we rely on large and medium contractors, they're not enough in the market. So we realized this early on, and we said, okay, in order to deliver multiple destinations across the Mall and Red Sea, what delivery model do you approach? The approach was agreed that we need to actually go to the trade packages, go to the subcontractors, go to the trade contractors, and manage those contractors ourselves. And so that was our initial strategy to deploy in order to kind of negate the supply demand crunch and the world economic to the kingdom. So that was on the delivery model side. And then as we look through the actual supply chain interiors in the country, that has come under pressure as well. And my colleague Spot, who's the head of site engineering, have been a challenge for his team was, how do we utilize offsite construction? How do we look at alternative materials other than traditional concrete and steel? And then, and that was the basis of sourcing materials like timber for construction. And the benefits of that was that we were not tapping into local supply chain in terms of concrete and steel and traditional materials, but the far afield for materials such as timber, where we have a much bigger supply, which is such as Europe, America, and Far East Asia. So there were a combination of things, right? So use a delivery model which works with the economics and with the overall macro of the country and the region. And then, how do you design your assets and your products which allow you to tap into materials which are not seeing the fight gradually switching to users who are going to see that challenge and that call from different developers. So,
Okay, very interesting. I'd like to move to Dr. Assad. We were chatting just before we came out, and you were talking about how much James seen in the kingdom in your lifetime. I suppose more recently, if we look at, as Joe, just in the past year, as we approach 2030, or some of the amazing projects to where we're driving towards, and the pressure to deliver those projects in supply chain. What changes have you seen within the kingdom just in the last year or so in terms of how technology is being used to connect these supply chains on these projects?
Good morning, everybody. Well, I have seen sizes. I try to solve the dilemma of just few statistics. How is the production overdue? That I will add to that interesting piece of information, but basically that yield is expected to be the largest of such material during the several decades out only next years. And they are expected to also 150 demand of steel at the region. So these are big numbers. I'll add to that the NX machinery of the actually 1,300,000 ship. It theory of the world speeds at least toward the origin first. Is at least thousands of years of AIDS other in 45 million of wind. So these are big stuff. Technology, how can technology solve this phenomenon? I haven't seen platforms or solutions that really approach this that one by sensible such.
However, there are many issues. If you major liberals start to approach the market, substitute that out to fuel better supply chain, because it's hard for them to go for QT of they use certain about 2.2. It's difficult to go beyond that. Manufacturers, they know all the doors. There are quoting projections that supply sovereign. So there are the issues that use some kind of sophistication. We can see in automotive, aircraft, industries. They also escape the use data, especially let's say in terms of supply chain, planning and solutions. So National Housing Committee, for example, for the past 2 years, made a program that signed 170 agreement with 40 with manufacturers directly, and established the online portal so that our real estate developers and contractors can direct expose supply chain partners and secured pre-stated want of quantities that you in the prices that are competitive for market. And MCs like to build on that for the future to expand the network and go directly for manufacturers. Not only that, our polyglot supply chain has identified 13 kinds of fertilizer for production, especially that are not yet locally sufficient. And we've announced an industry city in partnership with the Chinese city that are trying to build factories to localize these productions. So, is this kind of technology is the thing that we aim for? We hear about some initiatives or solution provided by game developers trying to induce suppliers within the platform, and I can see that happening with it, at least 2D sounds doing like the cost time involved, the planning and mostly on-site tracking of wars.
But is this kind of engagement is the thing that major clients want to see and will achieve or optimize the cost and security criteria that are so sometimes that are so scarce on security large teams.
I don't think it is sufficient. There is a window I get to improve, and otherwise I can see more initiatives, more solutions coming for the next years to help ease this problem of supply chain.
So thank you so much. I'd like to move to Dr. Manzoor. We spoke previously about the importance of having quality data. A lot of the things that the industry is trying to do really hinges upon having that quality data. And I know you have some examples of some best practices on how companies can go about developing their own database of being able to rely on more reliable and realistic data. Can you share just a little bit about what you've seen there?
Sure. Assalamu alaikum, good morning. Thank you for this presentation. So when it comes to the adaptation of technologies, especially making sure that we have a lot of data for job sites. And first, let's agree that construction industry is still an undeniably at a shifting point, where technologies, especially AI-driven technologies like open, and we know exactly transport how we plan, design, execute and manage our workforce or budget. And a number of challenges is there. One of them is the data digitalization. We know that many construction sites generate a huge amount of data, and most of these data are scattered and structured and consistent. And technologies are evolving. They can be a game changer for this. Now, many companies are working on developing their core data governance policies, making sure that we are collecting the most realistic, reliable data that will impact AI-driven solution, that will impact and unlock potential AI technology. But still, there are challenges and they negate. The first challenge is the lack of data standardization. And the other one is the resistant change and can explore to again.
Yeah, let's pick up on that topic of resistance to change, because that's something that we spoke about before. It, I think, came up in the last panel. But before we do that, I'd love to jump to Theo down at the end there. I've got sort of a two-part question for you. So, firstly, can you share your views on what it means to deploying technology across the supply chain? Before we spoke about collaboration across organizations, integration, and so on that point of integration, can you share, what role does integration between technologies play in driving adoption across the supply chain?
Thanks, Ed. Good morning, everyone. So this is a two-pronged question, right? How do we understand the role of technology increasing productivity, increasing efficiency, better quality fuel errors, accidents, just taking less time to get the outcome right. Eventually lower risk, and this is de-risking the process is what we're after, right? And this is valid for individual vendors, manufacturers, general contractors, going up to the clients. Eventually, entire supply chain is we split it into this, and we are at the location where both things are happening right now with KSA, and it's a gold rush. This area makes this parallelism. So we need to be more efficient, and the solution is not just for extra hands to work and improving, increasing the power, but rather than how to better utilize our resources, how to improve our processes and our workflows to be able to have a steady flow of and become more efficient. And I think this is exactly the role of technology. campaign nowadays to bring us more processes of manufacturing and infrastructure, right? And this goes in a number of ways. One is how to increase the output, right? So how to better organize our work to be able to be more efficient in production, whether that's manufacturing or on the extraction side. How, for example, to use VDC, virtual design extraction technologies, using B, using all of these tools, augmented reality, and so on, to streamline the job site from inception until delivery. How to use equipment and personnel to actually RFIDs, wearables. I mean, the sky's the limit. We can see some of you solutions being implemented to be able to increase the safety and the productivity. IoT devices, autonomous construction, and of course the popularization of application. Everything, and this is again from a production point of view. And eventually, I think Faisal touched upon it later. A lot of the work is done on or is driven by real estate companies, and in some extent we are a bit traditional, or might for not speak bricks and mortars, right? And we need to move away from that. There's so much innovation also in construction and here nowadays, and you've seen brilliant solutions that can be implemented, and I think it's the right time to start for DD3. This is as far as, a general process. Now go a little bit more into the integration. In order for these solutions to have a lot of virtual design structure, augmented reality is the BIM, etc. And we are still likely behind in terms of how come integrate these processes between them, because without how can we unlock the true value of these construction technology solutions if you're not able to collaborate, bring the collaboration many box stakeholders and making these solutions. So I think standardization is a very important factor, and sometimes maybe even on the country level it's an initiative. We've seen it in other countries, we've seen it perhaps to be here, and I think around the world this is where we are moving towards. I think vendors can play a very important role into trying this integration. Open APIs, open standards, and vendor collaboration between the vendors, I think, would be the way to go. And it's not just about how clever our solutions are. We've seen some brilliant solutions. However, they go just from A to B, whereas in our we see a holistic view. We'll see that the work that is needed to be able to integrate these is sometimes a lot of customization, which is difficult for more traditional real estate companies to do. So I think there is some work to be done there. I think I've been raised this issue for the last 2-3 years. In all similar conferences, some people might echo here the same things that I've said maybe years ago, but this is the case, and I think we're improving, but I think there are more steps to be taken towards this direction.
Thanks, Theo. I'd love to pull on this thread that we've got sort of 5 minutes left, so it's gone very quickly, but I'd like to sort of pull on this thread on the topic of change management, which came up in the last panel and already here. So Faisal, I know you've implemented a lot of technologies at the Red Sea, and in many ways I think the technology piece is almost the easy part. Can you tell us a little bit about how you've managed to overcome some of the change management, like the behavioral change management challenges across supply chain?
Before I answer that question, I
completely agree with you around a notion of responsibility of the developers. I would love to have a separate conversation around that. But coming to change management, so let me put it this way. So, in simple terms, we've all cooked a steak. So we take the steak out, we defrost it, we cook it, and let it rest. But the time we defrost it is probably the largest, and then in time we actually let it rest is probably more than the time we actually cook it. The same applies for change management when it comes to technology. The deployment time with technology is the shortest. How do you prepare the organization in terms of lead up to that deployment of the technology, and how do you provide service after you deploy the technology? That's where most of the effort needs to go. And I think, traditionally, every developer, every organization is focused completely on deploying the technology and then fixing the issues. And unfortunately, that does not work. That leads to a long time to your organization, whether it's internal, whether it's stakeholder from supply chain to come on board. I'll give you an example. We've been exploring open space as an inspection tool. Right, so we have multiple sites across 2 giga projects, and we looked at, okay, we have a traditional way where we have supervision consultants and contractors and our PMs, our internal PMs teams going and looking at defects and snags across hundreds of spaces. So how do we actually reduce that time? We looked at various products in the market, and we landed on a product in space with whom we'd done a POC. Now, it took us about 6 weeks to deploy this, but it's taken us up to almost 7 months in order to train the organization. And that's not about training our internal organization, that's training the contractors, supply chain, the ecosystem, integrating a price. And through this process, we learned that, okay, we should have started this journey way before we actually implemented the technology. Now, on a different deployment that we're doing currently in the organization, which is around resource management and resource planning, we said, okay, let's start the communication way before the product is even, in our system. So we started communication with the organization because we have approximately 5,000 people working at Red Sea between the Mala and Red Sea project. So we started this communication almost about 3-4 months ago. Our technology is still in test phase, it's not deployed yet. Hopefully it's going to be deployed towards the end of the year. And the adoption time is very, very small. People already know what to expect, right? They have that awareness from the early stages. And I think that's how you reduce the deployment time of technologies. Start early, make the organization aware, tell them what's happening, what's coming, what to expect. So that transition time to go online and actually deploy the whole organization on the new interface is shorter. And then your post-deployment issues also reduce as well. And I think the same goes for AI as well, right? So we've been talking a lot about AI, of course, and for the past couple of years. I think the most important thing is not going to be AI, it's going to be data, right? And as developers at this organization, we have been, we are so keen to collect data, right? We get comfort in the fact, we have data, right? Now, whether the data is structured in a way, whether the data integrity is there, whether the data allows you to use AI and other predictive tools to actually use the data, that's great. That's great. The battle's good to be. So the battle is now and between the next year at a couple of presenters in the previous panel talked about as well in terms of key themes for future is going to be data management. How do you ready your data to enable AI to actually make use of data?
That's special. I can't believe the time is already up. But any final thoughts?
Small face.
Theo.
Let me add more regarding the GE fund.
One of the significant challenges digitized was human hardness, and the construction industry is to change.
Many companies are still relying on traditional processes and believe in the adaptive technologies, AIs, for example, attribute technologies, have a number of concerns.
One of them is the data primes.
and the capital risks of doing such technology, and finally the accuracy of data that they are gathered from the researcher. So, but here where it comes is change management part. And a change management is not about digitizing forms, not about digitalizing processes. It is way beyond that. Successful AI technologies, it's not about acquiring new technology. It is absolutely culture shift within the organization.
And for example, دورة قام
From a career case study example, the way they develop a marketing strategy, the change marketing strategies to make sure that we are succeeding not only in the implementation of the technology, but also educating employees to telling them exactly the AI not replace you, the AI will optimize the process, and the AI will make sure that ego is Hey, well.
And I love that you refer to it as a marketing strategy because it goes back to Faisal's point that the communication piece is not just technology. It's about the human side, it's about the people, it's about...
And then avoiding that, now proper the change management strategy, the marketing strategy, even advanced, super advanced technologies will not succeed and will struggle and unlocking their reputation or reputation.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm getting the note from Rob where we've just gone over time there, and it feels like there's, much like the last panel, there's so much more that we could continue on with. And again, some great questions coming through, which apologies for that, we haven't had time to answer. So again, please come and approach us afterwards. I'm sure we'll be happy to address that. So Faisal, Sats, or Theo, thank you so much, and thank you for the audience for being here.